is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
This weekend, when you're watching the big game, grab a little vodka, maybe a little rum, grab a little bit of Edge energy drink there, mix it up, and you are going to love it. And it is delicious. It is smooth. It has zero aftertaste. And the link is right below here on our YouTube page, so you can get a little Edge energy drink. There he is, the man that brings the edge all the time, Marcel Louis-Jacques. Marcel, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. It's cool, as you can see, back in the facility. It's nice being back in Miami Gardens, having some work to do, seeing everybody. But I'm doing well, man. It's been a good morning so far.
What were your impressions of the young Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, a little bit of nerves there. I think this is probably his first time speaking to a media corps of that size or doing that large of a press conference. You got to remember, last season was his first as the official offensive coordinator, so he was not available to the media in that capacity. And I think being in San Francisco, a lot of their press conferences were virtual. But that's neither here nor there. He does sound like somebody that's excited. He sounds like somebody who has a vision, has a plan for what he's going to do. As we heard, one of the biggest, I think, developments in that press conference was the fact that he is going to call plays. I know that was a big, quote unquote knock against him in San Francisco, was that he didn't call plays. I've said on the show multiple times that was not necessarily true, but now that is his primary responsibility here. He doesn't sound like somebody who's going to come in here and force a system onto players that aren't ready for it. It sounds like he's going to come here. He's going to figure out what they've got on their roster and then tailor something specifically to that. And I think that Dolphins fans hearing that, hoping for improved offense this season, that should be music to your ears. Because after how many times of hearing, take what the defense gives you, react to what the defense is looking at, this seems like somebody who, again, he's part of that kind of innovative offensive explosion going on in the NFL, part of that kind of coaching tree. This is somebody who, as he told Travis Greenfield yesterday, he wants to dictate what is happening in the game. He wants his offense to attack. He wants his offense to be aggressive and set the tone. And I think that, if he's able to do that, if he's able to if that's able to come to fruition, then we're going to see a completely different Miami Dolphins team in 2022.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I love the attitude. I love the you actually get to cover a human being now on that podium. I think you get a lot of insight. I was talking with Alan Poupart. That story he told about when they drafted RG3 and then, they never ran the zone. And so now all of a sudden they all have to go learn. That's the kind of stuff that you'll never get from Flo. And that's the kind of stuff that guys like you and women that work your job also are going to absolutely love, because this is a guy that actually is going to give you some insight and leave some meat on the bone so you can actually write about what's actually going on instead of all the and let me just try to phrase this in a way where there's no second question to it or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it seems like he is genuine, and not to compare him to anybody in previous regimes, but he sounds like he's his own person. I can appreciate that. Again, I think that, once he gets in this room that I'm in right now, this is our normal press conference room. It's a little more intimate of an audience. I think, we'll see a little more relaxed of a person, but, he does seem personable. But the thing is, he's not hired to be friends with us. He's not hired to tell jokes on the podium. He's hired to revitalize this offense and develop players. And it sounds like he has a track record of doing such. I loved the RG3 story. I love the fact that they are willing, again, that's that coaching tree. That's that innovation. That's that, the outside of the box that I'm talking about.
And wait a minute. Hold on a second. Before you go too far, because I talked about this with Alan. Let me give you the complete story on that, okay? Because I'm not sure if you know the whole story. They didn't want RG3. That was all the owner. They would have never drafted RG3. Shanahan didn't want RG3. That's why he left his ass out there on the field and let Haloti Nada just, chew him up and spit him out, and it was over. And then he got his guy in. And as I explained the story, this is the same thing that happened to Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson didn't want Troy Aikman. He didn't want him. It was Gil Brandt standing on the table going, Jimmy, what the hell are you doing? This is the best guy. We have to take this guy. Half the personnel staff got behind Gil Brandt because a lot of them were there from the Dallas days, and Jimmy was taking over. And Jimmy, because of his experiences with Troy and breaking his leg and all that stuff, he didn't like Troy. So he didn't want Troy, but he let Gil Brandt make the pick because they were so adamant about it. He then takes Steve Walsh in the supplemental draft because he didn't trust Troy Aikman. Then Troy Aikman goes and proves himself, and then Jimmy believes in him, and then he ships, Walsh to Chicago. The rest is history. In Washington, the same thing happened. Shanahan didn't want RG3. He had other ideas at quarterback, but the owner loved RG3 so much that they had to trade for him. And in that trade, that whole staff looked around and go, oh, crap, we don't coach this. And that's the story that McDaniel's telling you. That
but still,
they were forced with RG3, they all had to adjust as the staff, and he had a monster season.
Hey, but still, that's what I'm talking about is that it shouldn't be considered outside of the box thinking to tailor your scheme to the guys that you have instead of trying to force a square peg into a round hole. But, the fact that, okay, even if they weren't prepared for a mobile quarterback like that, even if they weren't prepared for that kind of passer and runner, they were able to figure it out pretty quickly. Like I said, he had one of the best rookie seasons for a quarterback that we've ever seen. And but like I said, he sounds like he at least knows what he's doing. He is voluntarily now calling plays, which for the 300th time I'm saying he did call plays in San Francisco. It wasn't the primary play caller.
Dude, I brought on Jennifer Lee Chan to back you up 2 days ago. She covers the Niners out there. She does a really good job for NBC. She's been at it for several years. And Jennifer explained it that Mike makes all the calls to Kyle, and then Kyle relays it to the quarterback. Now, unlike the Dolphins, Kyle is not pulling a Charlie Fry and changing all the plays. No. Kyle may give advice to the quarterback or whatever. Maybe he changes one or two plays, but logic tells you if he's going to name him the offensive coordinator and the play caller, he's not going to be changing the plays. He must trust the hell out of him. So he actually made all the calls straight to Shanahan, and then Shanahan would tweak something if he had to tweak it.
I try to tell people it was a collaborative process, and the idea that he didn't call plays was exaggerated, and somehow people just kept running with it. But that's why I love these opportunities to sit down face to face and clear some of the BS up. I was told he would call plays himself, just period, toward the end of games late in the season. Like, this is if anybody says that he didn't call plays in San Francisco, then they're not paying attention. That's all I gotta say. Like, they're not doing the reading.
Marcel Louis-Jacques articles. They're not watching his reports. They're not watching the big old radio show. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
It's a shame. It's a shame, man. But that's part of the job, is clearing up some of the nonsense. But right. I thought that he was. It was what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a muted vote of confidence in Tua Tagovailoa. I think he insisted on downplaying the impact of Tua himself and hyping him up as just a member of the offense and a member of the team. He said Tua is a guy that wants to get better on a team full of guys who want to get better. I'm not worried about how good Tua can be by himself necessarily, because there's only a handful of quarterbacks in this league who can by themselves overcome the shortcomings of the rest of their team. Guys like Pat Mahomes, like Aaron Rodgers to an extent, to Josh Allen to an extent. And like even those guys who are those transcendent talents, if another team comes around and plays a complete team game, they can go on and beat them. You saw what the Chiefs did to the Bills. You saw what the Bengals did to the Chiefs. You saw what the McDaniel's Niners did to the Packers. So like it's a very rare moment.
I saw before you were born what San Francisco did to Dan Marino. So I know exactly what you're talking about because to this day, I'm still feeling the pain, sitting there going, oh my God, seriously. And so, yes, we know exactly because Marino can hide a lot of your faults, but in the end, if you don't give him enough, you weren't going to win it, man. That's just the way.
Exactly. So I like that he did that to just kind of like calm down the Tua noise and the Tua talk right now and just say, look, man, I'm excited to help this guy get better. I'm more worried about how we as a team are able to perform.
Well,
And
but no, to follow up to piggyback on what you're saying, the part of the press conference where they asked him about it, and he said, "Well, they better be blocking. They better be running the ball. The defense better stop somebody." Like he also explained to people because that's what I talked about throughout the year. Yeah, I know Tua didn't play perfect this year. I know he struggled at times and made mistakes and all that, but at the same time, I also see there's no coaching on the offensive line, so the offensive line sucks. They can't run the ball. Your receivers aren't staying healthy. So there were other issues and play call and play design. That's the other thing. That's the other element that I think completely was missing from the Dolphins. Play design is one of the most important things because it's kind of like a chessboard. When you're playing chess, for any of us that play chess, you're thinking a couple of moves ahead and you're trying to set your opponent up a couple of moves ahead. That's
yeah,
exactly what play calling is. We didn't have a lot of that. You're going to see that with these kind of guys because that's what this group does. The Shanahans, the Kubiaks, and now the LaFleurs and all these other guys. That's what they try to do. Play calling is incredibly important. The design.
it is. It is. I'm not gonna lie here. I dipped over to the comments just for a second, and please do not ever mention me in the same sentence as Emmanuel Akko. That's deeply offensive to me personally. But moving forward
What
from that, yeah, I think that
what did Alcho do? He did have a
I
good. He did have a good one this week on Flo's lawyers. That was
I think he's more fluff than substance, and
well,
people eat it up.
yeah. Oh, I get. He is. He does do a lot of the drama. Yes, he does. He does add the
It's
sensationalism.
the drama, the loud, what the cadence, the goofy takes. The nah, man, that is I would, and if that's what y'all are getting from me, please let me know so that I can
No,
right
no,
the ship
no,
immediately. But
no. But I
no,
got to.
I
But the line he had this week about Flo's lawyers, that was awesome. I got to give him love there. I don't know if he was the one that dug it up or one of the producers or whatever, but that was good, bro. That was good. I mean, Flo had to. He didn't even think because he called his buddies. That's the problem. Those are friends of his. He wasn't thinking color. He's just thinking his friends, and he wasn't thinking about the big picture of the whole thing. Which, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird.
it might, yeah, it might be it. But
The
that entire saga is not over yet. Obviously, we'll see. It's one of those situations, man. It's healthier for you to just wait and see. You know,
of course.
evidence or the lack thereof will become clear eventually. If they've got things to back up the lawsuit, we'll see it before long. If they don't, we'll see that before long as well. But there's no harm, and I think that's a societal flaw nowadays. There's no harm in just kind of sitting back and waiting for real details and real facts to come out before formulating an opinion.
Boy, if he has proof of pay to lose, ooh, he can bring the NFL to its knees. That's the one. I don't the
Yeah,
bias case. I think he has a very slim chance of winning that or none, pretty much. But the other one, oh doggy, if he has proof, that's the one that can rock people's worlds. That's the one that's
yeah.
going to be. That's the one that's going to be tough. All right. Anything else from that press conference that you want to share with us that you took away from it?
I think that we pretty much hit on all the. I don't know why this light keeps going on and off, man. I've been trying to figure it out, but I think we hit on really all of the
Oh, it's when
main
you stay
points.
still. When you don't move for a couple of minutes, it's motion censored. That's what it is. That's why it's
That's the
turning
one. I
off.
just need to
So then
take a lap around the
so
room
yeah,
while I talk.
you're gonna have to move a little bit like this, and then it won't turn off. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, I think we hit on all the basics. He was asked right out of the gate if, and this is something that I asked I asked agents and I asked coaches that were involved in the search and interview process if that lawsuit was would deter them at all from their interest in the job. Yeah, like, does this give you any pause, any hesitation? And McDaniel said the same thing that every single person I spoke to also said. Nope, no, no. Basically, like, that has nothing to do with Mike McDaniel. He praised Stephen Ross. I think he might have misspoke a little bit, saying that, Miami's lucky that they have a team owner who, right, wrong, or indifferent, the bottom line is he just wants to win and he cares. So I think
He cares. He cares so much he'll pay to lose.
yeah, I think he can, like, I don't think we can. I don't know how much debate there is that Stephen Ross wants to win. Like, there are team owners in professional sports who, yeah, this is just a money making venture for him. But
By the way, the guy in the Super Bowl is not a big spender. Never been known to be a big spender. Doesn't usually
no,
provide enough in the football operations for people. Mike Brown has been known to be one of the most notoriously cheap people in the
oh
world.
yeah,
He's like the guy that spends right to the floor, not the roof, floor. Okay,
I
so
mean,
and then they're in the Super Bowl. So
little differences between, like, the Dolphins and the Bengals. So today we're in the team facility, the practice facility, and they have something that looks, kind of like that. They got a transportable lectern. It's on wheels. It's got the big logo on it. They can move it, off to the side for photo ops, all that. The Bengals famously use a AV cart, like you would see in elementary school on movie day. When it's raining or snowing outside, and you got to watch a movie during recess and lunch. It's just little things like that. No indoor practice facility there. Brand spanking new practice facility, basically everywhere else in the league. So it's just, this will be, if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, man, this will be it'll be a critical blow to facility football. We have to have the shiny toy football.
it could be just history repeating itself again, my brother. Ken Anderson went to the Super Bowl one time with the Bengals. Boomer Esiason went one time with the Bengals. And maybe Joe Burrow, this is his one time with the Bengals. So they make it there every once in a blue moon. And then they usually get, throttled or an amazing comeback by Joe Montana. And that they've had a couple of quarterbacks that have had, that one trip. So that's the question now. Is Joe Burrow following the same path of Ken Anderson and Boomer Esiason of making just one trip to the Super Bowl with a really bad franchise that once in a while finds its way there? You know what I mean? And they
You
are
know,
playing a team that should win, actually. The Rams should win. They are the more complete team overall. So we'll find out. We'll find
yeah,
out.
this is one of those. It's a rare scenario in which no matter who wins, I think I'll be content. If
You
the
know,
if
you
the
know what the
Rams
weird
win,
part
I
is?
think it's.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I said, if the Rams win, I think it's kind of cool that I think it's cool for Matt Stafford after, I mean, just really being a quote unquote good soldier there in Detroit for so long to, be that kind of piece. Like, what kind of feelings that got to be when they go out and trade for you and you go win a Super Bowl for your team? I think it'd be good for him. And then if the Bengals
Right.
win, man, like, who doesn't like an underdog?
Right.
And obviously that's might ruffle a feather or two in Miami, especially with all the reports over the past month that they wanted to trade 2 or 3 first round picks. It would have to be 3 first round picks up to number 1 to draft Burrow, and all the tank talk and blah blah blah. But what happened already. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no more debate about Tua or Burrow. Like, Burrow was not on the board, and that's that.
Yeah, yeah,
Focus.
it's Herbert's the
Yeah,
one that, if you want to have a beef, and for those of you out there that we wish we could have had him. They never had a shot at Burrow. Hey, you give him credit for at least trying to trade for him, but obviously they were smart enough to keep the kid. Here's the twisted part about that game.
mm,
And to kind of piggyback off your talk with Stafford, a couple weeks ago, he needed that moment for his career. And obviously, winning the Super Bowl would kind of erase anything that's happened in Detroit or whatever labels he ended up starting to earn in Detroit, that he was, yeah, really talented, but, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But here's the twisted part for me, at least. If this game comes down to who puts together the most clutch drive at the end of a game, I just feel like Joe Burrow's the guy that I'm going to put my money on over Matt Stafford, because what's fresh in my mind is him smoking a cigar in the SEC, with LSU, and then watching him do what he's done with Cincinnati and a mediocre line at times. So moxie is all on one side of the ball, the way I look at it. And the other guy is trying to show you that he can be that guy. We know he's that guy talent wise because, man, Matt Stafford's super gifted, but he just hasn't crossed that threshold that, in my eyes, Burrow's already crossed, which is crazy.
I would be a little, the only hesitation I guess I would have with the game on the line is that he's got to do so with Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Jalen Ramsey on the other side. But if he does that,
And
then
Isaiah Prince is his defense.
yeah, look, if he somehow leads a game-winning, last minute drive, then put him in the top five and keep him there for the rest of his career. I'm sold like that. I'm honestly like, and I'm not too proud to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Joe Burrow. To be completely honest, I wasn't excited about any of these three quarterbacks, Burrow, Tua, or Herbert coming out. I was worried that Burrow had 1 year of plus production after being
That makes sense.
mediocre throughout his college career. And we've just seen that before. Dwayne Haskins had 1 year of being a star. Mark Sanchez had 1 year of good. There's a long line of quarterbacks who had one flashy year and then it didn't pan out because that's not really who they were. And I thought that was going to be the case with Burrow. I was wrong. I also saw Justin Herbert get torn apart by my Sun Devils before he came out, and I said, no way. If the worst defense in the Pac-12 can figure this guy out, ain't no way he's ready for the NFL. And turns out Oregon just didn't know how to use him because that guy is a bona fide star already. But
he has not played like at Oregon. He had no moments. He had no signature moments, nothing, dude. I was more impressed with Justin Herbert running the ball at times at Oregon than throwing the ball. It was like the weirdest thing. You would see him and go, damn, this dude's strong, athletic, has got a whip of an arm, and yet I'm more impressed with him running. And it was like, and I don't know Cristobal's here, but man, you just wonder, like, yo, dude, I hope you're not that conservative here because that's not going to fly here, man. They'll be critical of that. Here,
look, they've got a kid.
By the way, watch Tyler Van Dyke this past year. Well, guess what? He better play with that kind of swag next year. We better not see him running around and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's he's got a legit star. There's NFL guys that are excited about Van Dyke's future in the league. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what year he was. I don't remember if he's draft eligible after this year or not. But whenever he does come out, he's going to be highly considered there as somebody's future franchise.
He'll be eligible after this year because he's a redshirt sophomore. So he'll have 3 years in. So he will be. Hopefully he stays one more year, and gives the Canes another year, even though they're kind of loaded back there. All right, before I let you go, Marcel, Louis-Jacques, who wins and why?
I've got Cincinnati going. I'm a big proponent of the hot team winning. Cincinnati went into Tennessee and beat the number 1 seed Titans with Derrick Henry back. They go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs, which, as the Bills showed you, you can play your perfect game, and all it takes is a play or two, and the Chiefs will beat you. And Cincinnati went and erased the deficit and still won. Now they're going into somebody else's backyard. I like the hot team, man, and I like a good story. I think Cincinnati's going to be the good story. And I predicted it for ESPN here. Super Bowl MVP, not Joe Burrow, not Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins. I think Jalen Ramsey is going to put Jamar Chase in hell come Sunday. I think somebody else is going to have to step up. It's either going to be Boyd or Higgins, and my money's going to be on Higgins.
Higgins is a good player, man. He's a good player, man. He's kind of what's it called? A guy that doesn't get enough credit actually for his skill set. I like him. That's a good call.
I covered him at Clemson, his true freshman and sophomore years, and I can remember, he's just this stick, this rod as a freshman, and then we see him for the first time in spring practice, and he's coming down the stairs and looks like a completely different person. And I knew, okay, this guy's gonna be an NFL receiver. Like he's gonna be a legit guy. And
he
sure
can ball.
enough, but hey, he can.
No doubt about it. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch him here a couple times a week with the Edge Energy Drink, Miami Dolphins Insider Report. Marcel, thank you for taking some time, my friend. You have a
Of course.
terrific weekend. We will catch up next week.
Yep, you do the same. See you Monday.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. Marcel Louis-Jacques and our Edge Energy Drink, Miami Dolphins Insider Report.